Okay, the next topic that we need to cover is the home health aide job description. With your in-service training packet on page 4, the letter X, it says see attached number 11, which is this paper here, the actual job description that you went over when you were hired. There's 1 through 10. We're going to take a look at those. First, helping patient with bath, care of mouth, skin and hair. Skin care and hair care. That's something that we do normally on a daily basis. Number 2, helping the patient to the bathroom or using diapers or using a bedpan. Those are things that if you're not familiar with on how to use them, we need to make sure that you're trained and that you know and understand how to use diapers on a patient, how to use a bedpan on a patient or urinal. Number 3, helping the patient in and out of bed, assisting them with ambulation. Number 4, helping the patient with prescribed exercises, which the patient has been taught by the appropriate professional personnel. We're not allowed to initiate exercises on patients. However, once a therapist has been in the house, either physical therapy, occupational therapy, or speech therapy, they can set up a home exercise program for the patient. We can then, once it's written down, follow up on that with the patient. Make sure that if they're supposed to do it 3 times a day, maybe 2 repetitions or 5 repetitions, however many times it says for us to do it, that the patient is actually doing that. It's our responsibility to make sure that it gets done when we're there. Number 5, reporting any changes in families or patients' mental or physical condition to your supervisor immediately. That's the most important thing. We're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you don't call us and tell us there's a change or a problem, we can't help. That's plain and simple. A lot of people will say, oh, we didn't want to bother you. Believe me, it's not a bother. When someone doesn't bother us, that's a liability issue. Someone could sue our company for failing to report things. You know, we have people's lives in our hands. What greater thing could there be than to have someone's life in your hand? It's extremely important what we do. And if there is a change, it has to come to us. And we will notify the appropriate people once we're made aware that there's a problem. Number 6, personal care, including making and changing beds with or without a patient in the bed, and straightening the patient's personal environment. There are tricks to the trade. When you're changing a bed and there's a patient in the bed, you have to know how to roll them and turn them, and you have to know how to slide things under and pull them through, making sure that the rails are up, that the patient doesn't fall out. A lot of times they can help us, sometimes they can't. How to use a draw sheet. Those are things that we cover in the Home Health Aide certification class. Also, we cover in the Home Health Aide orientation program. Number 7, preparing or warming prepared foods and feeding patients during appropriate times. You know, nutrition is an important part of what we do. If you don't put gas in a car, the car doesn't run, basically. So when people eat, they take in calories. That allows them to burn those calories so that they can use them for energy. You know, and we need to know that people eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a bedtime snack, 4 meals a day. If we're there evening shift, we may only have to do dinner, bedtime, snack. If we're there only day shift, we may only have to do breakfast, lunch. So depending upon the times that we're there, and the guideline that we use is 9, 1, 5, and 9. 9 a.m. is breakfast, 1 p.m. is lunch, 5 p.m. is dinner, and 9 p.m. is bedtime snack. Now, patient preferences would precede that. That's just a general rough guideline to go by. Not only for meals, but to make sure the patients take their medications at correct times. 9, 1, 5, and 9. Same time measures. Number 8, teach safety measures, household routine, and skills to appropriate family members when necessary. And what this is saying is, yes, you are permitted to teach. You are permitted to show family members how to change a diaper, how to get someone in and out of bed, so that when we're not there, they can do it. You know, how to cook low sodium foods, you know, anything. anything that we do, we are able to teach. Number 9, understand that supervisors and or assistive devices are available 24 hours a day for changes in patient's functional status or condition. When our office closes at 5 o'clock here, 4:30, the phones automatically get transferred to our homes. If for some reason we're out on the road, then there'll be a cell phone number that you can call to get a hold of someone. Leave a message on the machine and then call the cell phone. We are available 24/7. Not just us, but if you see here, assistive devices. We've had to take Hoyer lifts to patients' houses who could not assist us with transfers. Sliding boards, get wheelchairs, go and pick up the electric lift chairs, the ones that look like a recliner that help people get up and down. You know, the last thing we want to do is to hurt a patient or for an employee to get hurt. So it's your responsibility in knowing that if there's a change in a patient's condition, that someone is available to help you in that type of a situation. And number 10, the home health aide is act as a role model for the family. And how do they act as a role model? Being dependable, being flexible, being nice, being polite, not being disrespectful, just following the policies and guidelines that we have. Next is why. That is the pay scale raises and bonuses people normally have questions about. The pay scale was based upon the position that each employee is hired for. For instance, the office manager's position pays different than the home health aide. That pays different than the secretary's position. That pays different than the home health aide supervisor's position. So there's 4 different pay levels, pay scales. Raises are annually. That means once a year you receive a raise. You will come up to be able to receive a raise, and understand that that raise is based on your performance. It's not based on anything else. Whether you've been dependable, whether you've caused problems in patients' homes, whether you were willing to learn, if there was a problem in a patient's home, if you brought it to our attention. There's a lot of things that you are graded on. If we are able to grant employees bonuses, this normally occurs around June 1st. The bonus that we apply for is a state grant. It's called the Direct Care Worker Initiative Program, and it is for retention of employees. For the last couple years, we've been able to actually go out and get Sheetz gas cards that can be used on anything in the store, including gas. That way, the employee is able to get 100% of the bonus. And we've done this in the past, where we've given a cash bonus in the form of a check, about almost 50% of it, it's like 40%, gets taken away in taxes. So if you were to get $50, $25 of that would go straight to taxes. You wouldn't see it. But if we give a $50 gas card, the employee gets all $50 of it. It's not taxed that way. Next is mileage. Our mileage is paid to employees who travel more than 20 miles in one direction from your home to the patient's home. It's calculated the shortest distance from your house to the patient's house, and presently mileage is being reimbursed at a flat rate of $10. I had an employee one time that went from her house to the babysitter in another town and then back to where she lived to go see the patient, and she wanted paid mileage. You have to understand that your additional personal running is not included in the mileage that we reimburse for. From your house to the patient's house, say it was 24 miles one way. And then once you get there, you would have to call the office to let the office know, hey, it was over 20 miles. Besides your name and your time where you worked, they put a little +1 and a T for travel. That way they know to go ahead and pay you that additional $10 for that shift. Now, if you worked 5 shifts, 8 hours a day, and you've got travel for every day, you'd make your 40 hours plus 5 additional travel hours, which is an extra $50 just in gas. Number 2 on page 4. It says services provided. What you need to understand also is what we are allowed to do in patients' homes under our light housekeeping responsibilities. This is, first of all, provided in every home that we go to. Every home that we go to, when you first walk in the door, you should be looking around saying, okay, do the floors, they look dirty, the bed looks dirty, there's dishes in the sink, there's dust on all the knickknacks on the top of the TV. The light housekeeping, first of all, is to be completed for the patient only. Now, if it's a husband and wife and they're both elderly and we're there to take care of the wife, yes, we're going to do the husband's clothes also in the laundry. It doesn't take any more to do the spouse than it does to do the actual patients. What it includes is dishes, vacuum, damp mop, laundry, bed making and changing, setting out the trash, wiping off countertops and appliances, and dusting. Direct patient care comes first. Whatever that patient needs comes first, then the patient's environment. We are not permitted to clean on our hands and knees. We're not allowed to stand on anything to clean, and we're not allowed to move any heavy furniture. Now, under the heavy housekeeping, that's something that is prearranged. We send 2 employees in, not 1, and it's only provided when it's specified by the office. It includes cleaning walls, windows, scrubbing floors, ceilings, any request that's not included in the light housekeeping, and it requires 2 employees to complete. It's that heavy. We move heavy furniture. Number 3 on page 5. Insurances that we have available. We have Aflac insurance, which is a medical reimbursement program. We have American General Insurance that deals with investing, life insurance policies, things like that. And then Northwest Mutual Financial Network that also deals with investing, life insurance policies, things of that nature. Employees interested in these benefits must contact the office during normal office hours, Monday through Friday, say 9 to 4. Number 4 is our snow day policy. You have this as an attachment. That would be attached number 12. Snow days, that's a day in which your supervisor declares the road conditions should be limited to only necessary travel to patients' homes that are vulnerable and cannot be left unattended, including the types of patients we consider vulnerable. A is a 24-hour case. That means there is no family there. We are responsible for that patient 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. B, a patient is bedfast or chairfast, which means they can't ambulate. C, patient's medical condition requires direct assistance, say someone that needs his help with insulin injections or blood sugar testing. Maybe they have nebulizer treatments and they need assistance. D, no family members or distance of family members. You know, it might be someone that can do a good bit for themselves, but there's no one around for them, say, to help them with their meals. Or they have a family member, but they live in another state. Those are someone that we would consider vulnerable. E, the ability of family members to care for the patient. Now, they may have a family member there with them, say an elderly wife, an elderly husband, but they can't do anything for them. They can't clean them, they can't turn them, they can't cook for them. That would also be considered a vulnerable patient. Also, underneath of that, employees on a snow day that are working, you know, we're going to assess and evaluate the situation. There's been times whenever we've gotten 2 foot of snow, and roads have been very difficult to get through. If you're at a house and something like that's going to occur, we'll try to send you home early if possible, or we could shorten the shift, or the shift might even be able to be deleted for that day if it's going to be bad for that day. Also, what we can do is move the shift if possible. Instead of say 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., maybe a 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., you know, like in the evening. Move the shift back. Especially if there's a a school delay. You know, you have a 2-hour school delay. Patients that normally get care first thing in the morning, sometimes we are able to move that shift back 2 hours to coincide with the school delays. That way the roads are clear by that time. The buses can get through, we can get through. B, an employee will be escorted to a vulnerable patient's home in a 4-wheel drive vehicle. If you don't have your own or can't provide your own ride in a 4-wheel drive vehicle, we've actually went to employees' houses, picked them up, and taken them to their shift and then brought them back home when the weather's been bad. And we have to stay dependable to those 24-hour cases. C, the employee is at the home. It's a 24-hour case. You will remain at that patient's home until the next employee arrives. If I'm out running employees to and from houses, it might take me an extra half hour to an hour. You're supposed to leave at 3. You might not get out of there until 4 because we can't leave that patient unattended. D, you should carry a change of clothes at all times in your vehicle in case you ever, God forbid, they close the summit and you're working and you can't get off the summit. You may have to spend the night somewhere, either at a patient's home or at a hotel. Always carry an extra change of clothes with you. I've actually been in a patient's home. Something had gotten spilled, and it got all over my pants. I was able to go out to my car, grab the little bag underneath the back seat, just a little shopping bag, a grocery bag. I had a full change of clothes in there, took it into the patient's house, went into the bathroom, got everything changed. And E, you should leave your home earlier to make sure you get to the patient's home on time. You know, if your shift starts at 9 and normally you leave your house at 10 till and you're there at 9 o'clock and the roads are a little bit bad out, you need to be leaving at about 8:30 or 20 till 9 instead of 10 till like you normally do. Okay, next is the employee referral, number 5 on page 5. This is an incentive program. An employee who refers an individual to work for Twin Oaks Home Care and that person remains employed for 6 months, you'll receive a $100 bonus. This is to be tracked by each employee and is not tracked by our office. We track enough things. You send someone here, we hire them. In 6 months, you need to pick up the phone, call the office and say, hey, I want my employee referral incentive bonus. We'll go ahead and we'll research it real quick. How long they've been here, your name's on the application, and we'll go ahead and get you a check out in the mail. Number 6, the home health aide role. The following sections are related to the 75-hour National Home Health Aide Certification Program. They're intended to be basic in nature, and they will be covered in whole during the actual certification class. And you have, within the first year, you will be assigned to participate in the Home Health Aide Certification class. It's a 75-hour class, and it's for the HHA certification, not the CNA certification. HHA certification is 75 hours. It's set up for employees that are working in patients' homes. The CNA program is a 300-hour class, and that's set up for working in facilities. That's not what we do. That's not what we certify. First we have is A is attitude. Your attitude at all times needs to be, I'm here to help. What can I do to help you? It also needs to remain respectful at all times. No offensive or foul language will be tolerated, and it's against our policy for any use of profanity at all on any Twin Oaks time. B, personal care. What you need to know is how your patient looks. It says a lot about how well they're being cared for. Do their bath, their shampoo, they comb their hair, put some clean clothes on them, clean their fingernails, brush their teeth or dentures at least twice a day, sometimes after every meal. Families come in, mom and dad, they look great. Oh, mom and dad's getting wonderful care, and you haven't even done anything for mom and dad yet. You've cleaned their house for them, and that was it. That means a lot. C, ambulation. Whether it's a cane, walker, or wheelchair, we need to make sure that the patients that can move around are moving around. This will prevent many physical complications and should improve their emotions as well. It's going to benefit them a great deal. There's an old saying that says if you don't use it, you lose it, and that's true. Their muscle strength will deteriorate, so we need to continue to encourage them to ambulate. D, meal preparation. Be encouraging. Even if they say they're not hungry, we are to still prepare a meal. It might be a smaller meal, and if the patient only takes a few bites of it, we've done our job. Normally, unless specified in the plan of care, which is attached 13, meal times are, again, 9, 1, 5, and 9. Now, the actual plan of care, you will see this when you go into a patient's home. For every topic, there's a bold heading. First, you have infection precaution. If there's anything that needs to be addressed for that patient, it'll be checkmarked if we have to take any special precautions. Next is safety measures. If the patient has additional safety measures that we need to be aware of when we're in there, then these will be checkmarked. If they're using a tub chair, if they have grab bars, if their walkways are clear, if they have a wheelchair, side rails, lighting, oxygen, or if they previously have had a seizure. This is the Bible in the patient's home. You must look at this every time you go in because it could change. How does a patient bath? That's the next topic. In the bed, chair, tub, or shower. Do you assist them with care, or are they complete care? Wherever they get a bath at, that's what's going to be checkmarked. And their level of care that they need, assistance, or if we're doing it all for them, that's going to be checkmarked. Same thing with them getting dressed. Are we helping them, or do we do it all for them? Next is skin care. Are we using mild soap, lotion, powder, giving them a back rub, or applying ointment onto the skin? That'll be marked. The next topic is pressure relief devices. Someone that has altered skin integrity. They have red areas, they have bones that are pushing down on their skin, they don't move a lot. They may have pressure relief devices like a special mattress, sheepskin, egg crate, heel pads, elbow pads, or something else. Those will be marked if that patient has it. Next is their elimination needs. That's how they go to the bathroom. What's check marked? Bedpan, urinal, toilet, bedside commode, Foley catheter, diapers, urostomy, colostomy, or enema. Next is their oral hygiene, which is a mouth care. Do they have dentures, yes or no? Who doesn't? The patient or the caretaker or the home health aide? One of those will be checked. Hair care. Are we shampooing their hair as needed? If yes, it'll be checked. If there's a frequency, if they do it so many times a week, like every Friday, it'll be one time a week, and it'll be Friday. We'll mark it right there. Where do they get their hair done at? In the bed, sink, tub, or shower, and it'll be check marked. Next is nail care, clean, file, and trim. If someone's on aspirin or Coumadin or ibuprofen, that's a blood thinner, we're only going to clean and file them. Where it says trim, there'll be a big no, which means we're not allowed to trim their fingernails because they're on a blood thinner. We never, ever, ever clip anyone's toenails. That's for a podiatrist only. Under shaving, do we shave as needed, or is there a specific frequency a week? Most men shave daily. Do they use electric razor or one of the safety razors, which you have to use soap and water with the safety razor? Is there any medical equipment in there? If so, we need to be cleaning it. This will be marked, and that's what you're to be cleaning, what's in there. Bed, cane, walker, wheelchair, bedside commode, or other. Next is mobility status. Are they bedbound? Yes or no? That means can they get out of bed or not? Are there any weight-bearing limitations if they do get out of bed? Yes or no? Some patients may only be able to weight bear on the right leg, no weight bearing on the left leg. So when you're getting them in and out of bed, they can only put pressure on the right leg. That'll be marked. Next is ambulation. How do they ambulate? Independently, supervised, which means just watch. Arm assist, which means you have to have your hand on them. And then you have a percentage of what type of assistance they require. Minimum is less than 20%, moderate is less than 50%, and maximum is less than 80%. Does the patient use a cane, walker, wheelchair, brace, or prosthesis? And how often are we to assist them ambulating? As needed or every visit? We do not do what's called deadlift transfers. That means if a patient cannot assist us in getting in and out of bed, that they either stay in bed or we get a Hoyer lift to help them, or a sliding board. Next is transfers. How do they transfer? That's from point A to point B, from bed to wheelchair, wheelchair to bedside commode to bed, to recliner chair. Are they independent? If that's check marked, then you don't have to worry about them transferring. They're able to do it themselves. Are they supervised? That means you have to watch them in case they need help. Next is arm assist. That means you have to have your hand on them at all time. Next is pivot assist. That's normally when you're there in front of them, you hold underneath of their arms, and they give you a hug, and you're pivot assisting them. Next is a sliding board. And if you've never used one of those are really neat. They work very well. There's no gravity. You just put one butt cheek on top of the board in the wheelchair and put the other end wherever you're going into the bed, and you pull them right across it, and they slide. Next is a two-man assist, and last is a Hoyer lift. So however they transfer from point A to point B, that's going to be check marked. If there's something you come across you're not sure about, again, you would pick up the phone, call the office. Where do they transfer to? Bedside commode, wheelchair, tub, chair. And how often? Every visit or as